what are the Akasha records and how does it apply to the person on an individual level, just so they understand what we're discussing?
Yeah, so I like to explain the Akashic Records as an energetic database of all of our soul's experiences. It contains everything. And you could think of the records as this big filing cabinet, and we each have a drawer in that cabinet. So we each have a record within the records. And you can connect. So I also like to say the records are a frequency we connect with. They are an energy. It's not necessarily somewhere we go. The records are also within us because our souls are within us and our souls hold all of this information. So when I connect with the records, this energy, this frequency, I am connecting with your higher self to receive this information from the records. A lot of clients will say, "Oh, I thought that. Oh, I felt that. Oh, that was something I was obsessed with as a kid. This was something I've always been scared of." It's because this is already within us. And so, my job when I help you connect within your records is to help you access what's already there.
Is that difficult for people to tap into to learn about themselves when they're exploring with you through their Akasha records?
Do you mean like when I'm receiving stuff, is it hard for them to receive that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, it depends on the level of awareness. And I also say how much the person trusts their own gifts, their own connection, right? Because I can be doing a session with a client and we can be in their records and they might be right there with me, maybe not receiving the exact same information, but being like, oh, yeah, that rings true. That feels true. That resonates. Other times I've had sessions with clients where they're like, I have no idea what you're even talking about. But then when we get to the root of it, there's a lot of fear in the way. There's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of doubt, limiting beliefs. And that's our denser energy that can actually block our channel. It's the human stuff.
And I'll tell you why I asked that question because there's some times where when I was going through it, I was trying to understand, and it could be a little bit overwhelming for someone who's new
Hmm.
and doing it alone. Like, I guess many things in life, right? Now, when you're working with someone and you mentioned their abilities and their senses, and you mentioned their gifts, right? Once they start to have things revealed to them,
Hmm.
what are maybe some of the obstacles that you see that they experience when they're engaging in it?
Mm. Yeah, first and foremost, I want to say our connection to our intuition and our deeper soul information, this is a muscle we build. It's a trust muscle. And for me, before I even learned how to go into my Akashic records, I was meditating every day. Not that you have to meditate, but when we meditate, the idea is we become aware of all of our stuff. The point of meditation is to separate ourselves from all of this in the mind, right? The noise, the distractions. And so the more success we have learning how to connect within our records depends on how aware we are, how much we're able to be present and open to receive. So I like to say that piece first because that was a big precedent before I learned how to go into my records. I was meditating. I was receiving stuff from my grandpa who had recently passed in my dreams. And I also like to say, before I even stepped onto this path, I was the skeptic. Like I was the person, I remember like years ago, my sister, she wanted me to come to a psychic party. And I was like, oh, I don't do that stuff. And then I was thrust into this big awakening journey, which was very uncomfortable. I had lots of pain and past trauma coming up. And in the process of healing so much of that stuff, my channel began to open. I also began to trust more of my inner experience. I was becoming more aware, more present. And that played a huge factor in being able to then connect within my records.
Can it be used as a way to heal past wounds, past trauma, and maybe uncomfortable situations that you have gone through or that you're currently going through?
1000%. So, and there's lots of different reasons for this. One, the frequency of the records is a higher frequency. It's an eighth dimension frequency. When we think about ascension, okay, and I could talk for hours on this piece too, but there's this idea, oh, we need to ascend. Well, we don't actually go anywhere to ascend. In order to ascend, we have to descend into our shit, right? We have to like clear all the dense energy, all the stuff taking up space within ourselves, and then our energy naturally expands. The energy in the records is a high frequency energy. So when you're connecting with the records, that in itself is healing. You're receiving this similar like a sound bath that you might go to. You're receiving a higher frequency that's beginning to move the denser energy within you. And then we have being in the records and what you're receiving, the awareness of some of these pieces can help shift your perspective on why I had to go through that thing, why I had to experience that. And not even why I had to, why I chose to, because our soul chooses everything we're going to experience in this lifetime. And that's going to be controversial for people because the human in us wants to believe that in some ways we're a victim to our circumstance. It allows us to stay stuck in the pain. But when you go into the records, what you quickly realize, and this is a big piece in the work I do with clients, is you chose all of this very specifically, and not just to expand in this lifetime, but you chose it because it also connects to all the other patterns you have from other lifetimes.